Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half acre homestead with a Q&A. Today is Friday, August 28th, 2015. I'm really excited. My cousin Kathy is coming to visit tomorrow for a whole week, and I am thrilled beyond measure. We have not spent any time together on a friend, just hangout level since we were kids. We're talking 35, 40 years. Anyway, easy. So I'm really excited about that. But I wanted to answer some questions, or at least one set of questions about quilting. Lovely Soul asks, I'd love to know your opinion on quarter, jelly rolls, and quilting bundles that large fabric stores sell. And can you also tell me or the world how you best decide on the fabric choices to match color and type of fabric to complement any quilt? Wow, that's the reason I'm dealing with this now is because it's actually a lot of consideration going into these questions. I've looked at jelly rolls. Now, what many people may not know is jelly rolls are strips of fabric that are stacked in complementary colors or shades and then rolled up like a jelly roll, and they sell them. They're bloody expensive. If you've got the money and you don't want to take the time to cut your own strips, go right ahead. But as many times as I have looked at them on eBay and in other places, they're just way too expensive. I mean, probably 3 times. That's my cousin Kathy texting me. Probably 3 times the cost of doing it yourself. Quilting bundle. Oh, quarters. What she's talking about is fat quarters. And a fat quarter is a quarter of a meter of fabric. So it's usually about 18 by 22 inches. And I like fat quarters if you can get them on a deal. For instance, when I was doing Brother John's The Simple Tide Log Cabin Quilt, I had gone to a fabric store in Cornwall called Ron's. Love this place. It's in Martintown, right on the border of the Akwesasne Reserve. And there's also a wonderful one in Hogansburg off the Akwesasne Reserve as well. Anyway, I'm rambling. If you can get fat quarters for under $2, they're a great way of getting one piece of fabric or color that you just have to have in a particular block without buying a whole meter. Okay? Fat quarters were designed to keep life simple for the attendants in the store or the salespeople in the store from having to cut a meter and then cut it in 4 pieces. So I like fat quarters, but they've got to be a good price. They've got to be $2 or less. And quilting bundles that large fabric stores sell. I think that takes a lot of the fun out of it. Can I also tell the world how I best decide on the fabric choices to match color type and fabric to complement any quilt? Well, for the most part, okay, now I've made quilts out of a lot of different fabrics over the years, but I like to stick to cotton or a cotton blend weave, not knit. Knit is a stretchy fabric and it's a pain in the butt. I like cotton or a cotton blend because it breathes well. I stay away from wool for the most part. I have done them in wool coats and things in the past, and I have a 100-year-old quilt, a quilt that's over 100 years old that was given to me that needs repair, and I'm going to be looking for some 1915, 1911 wool fabric that I would really, anybody out there, I'm willing to pay for it. For a piece of 1915 or earlier wool fabric that I could use in restoring this quilt, because it's something I want to hang on my wall. But I want to restore it with the fabric of the original quilt, like with the dated fabric of the original quilt. When it comes to deciding on fabric choices, that's my fabric choices to the best of my ability. It is preferably cotton. If I can't get cotton, then I get a high percentage of cotton, but a cotton blend. When it comes to color, well, for starters, I think of the person the quilt is designed for. My oldest son, was like, Mom, why do you do all these quilts in blues and purples? Well, because he's a guy and he has blue eyes, and I just automatically assume blue with him. But when it comes to the colors, it's like my grandmother's flower garden quilt. I actually have labored over at least one block that I'm looking at now going, I don't like it. I'm not going to keep it. I'm I'm a little OCD when it comes to color. When I put a quilt together that is something I'm kind of designing, I have to love the way the fabrics marry or the colors marry, or I won't use it. I won't use it. I'm one of those people that goes, that color's going to bug me. That's really going to bug me. It doesn't work. And I won't put it in. That's all there is to it. So when it comes to decisions, you ask my mother-in-law, you ask Nan. I mean, the last time I went shopping for fabric at Ron's to work on John's quilt, and some of the fabric in John's quilt is from my personal stash, but I spent an hour in the fabric store, and I was the only customer. Okay? I spent an hour going back and forth, comparing prices, prints, and shades. Not all greens marry well. Not all blues go together well. Not all browns go together well. So I'm one of those shade junkies that goes, and I lay fabric up against each other and go, yeah, that'll work. And I'll do it. But I'm a little OCD about it. So when it comes right down to it, folks, take your time. Quilting is not, it makes me crazy. Okay? It makes me crazy when I see, all these people going, let's do a quilt in 45 minutes. It's like, or an 8-hour quilt. And I'm going, what's the point? Why don't you just go out and buy a blanket? Okay? Or go to the store and get one of those made in China quilts that looks nice, but because to me, part of the labor, now yes, folks, for the most part, I use a sewing machine to piece my blocks together, okay? But not all my blocks are pieced by machine, okay? And I've had a lot of people say, you should get a quilting machine and stuff like that. Why? Because if you're going to machine piece it and me personally, I'm not saying everybody else out there, you may have 12 grandchildren all born within a year of each other, and you got to get them all quilts for Christmas. I'm not arguing with the need for speed on that. But as far as I'm concerned, quilting to me it's a soothing thing. It's a patience thing. It allows me to immerse myself in one of my favorite things, which is color and fabrics. I've got a thing about, rainbow hues. As a matter of fact, I have a quilt top that I designed personally that I haven't quilted yet, and I think it's going to be a wall hanging. It's called the Wool Shop, and it was designed because in the little town of Apsley, Ontario, where I used to live at one point in my life, there was this lady, her name was Barb Johnson. God rest your soul, Barb Johnson. She had a house, as you pulled into this little wee fartin' town, she had a house that said Wool Shop and cross-country ski permits. I believe it was cross-country ski permit, trail permits, or whatever. But anyway, you would go in, you would not, if the sign said open on the door, you would go in, and on the left was her living room, and on the right was her wool shop, which was just one room with floor to ceiling wooden shelves, wooden cubby holes, and masses of mounts, rainbow hues of beehive knitting yarn. And if I had had my way, I would have just had that room just for me, because I loved it so much, and it had so many creative possibilities. So I actually designed a quilt top that is called the Wool Shop. And it's in a bag in my closet waiting to be quilted. And I think that is going to be something I'm going to work on soon. What's the matter, Penny? You got to go outside? Go on outside. Anyway, so you can't, there's no ready answer for how I feel about fat quarters and jelly rolls. Yeah, well, jelly rolls are a waste of money unless you want to make them yourself. Got to remember, when someone is selling you something, you're paying for the convenience. You're paying for the convenience of not having to make a decision. You just look at that jelly roll and it has 6 different colors or shades in it and you go, oh, that's perfect. Okay? But that's all you're paying for. You're paying extra money for the convenience. And I really think when it comes to quilting, cutting your own fabrics, choosing your own fabrics and your colors and your designs are really important. It's all a part of the experience of immersing yourself in a time-honored traditional craft. Yes, I use a sewing machine. But, you know, I do, you know, that's just the way I work. Anyway, this is the Mrs. Oh, and I have some questions for you. I did that 9-patch, how to do a 9-patch block this morning. And I wanted to know if anybody out there wants me to do a series on how to do different types of quilt blocks. Okay, so it would be like the 9-patch block, only it would be a specific block, a new block, maybe a block every couple of weeks or a block a month or something like that. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Anyway, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying I have to answer my cousin's text, and then I got to get some housework done because she's coming tomorrow and we're going to do canning and quilting and it's going to be wonderful. All right? And if you're really lucky, she's going to let me film you so you get to meet my cousin Kathy. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.